Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel, September 7th, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure a lot of you by now have heard that there has been a massive 8.1 magnitude earthquake that just struck off of the coast of Mexico. You know, folks, I've been talking about this area for a long time. It is a seismic area. They do have consistent earthquakes right along this ridge. However, the matter concerning the X-flare from the sun the other day, well, it was just a matter of time before that energy made its way to our planet. You know, something that's really making me mad this morning is the fact of the matter, and I hate to even bring it up, but I have to. The fact of the matter is that some of these Planet X troll operations were all making fun of the X-flare stories that were coming out by YouTube channels that report on Planet X and investigate and research this phenomenon. Literally making fun of it. Saying that it's okay. Once again, there's nothing wrong. There's no problem. These are all natural occurrences. Now 5 people have lost their lives already in Mexico during this massive 8.1 magnitude earthquake. Over the past 9 months, I have kept in touch with one man that made contact with me who actually works in the Mexico seismology office. And he's been very scared of the situation for quite some time. I got his email about 20 minutes after this earthquake struck. The Mexican seismology office has this listed as a magnitude 8.2. But he reassured me that the earthquake was much stronger. They had several readings up towards 8.4, 8.5, and yes, folks, 8.6. Now, all of that information, it will never make it out into the public. And that's a damn shame. It's also a shame that there are people out there that try to masquerade as so-called truthers. But when in actuality, ladies and gentlemen, these are the wolves in sheep's clothing trying to prevent you from listening to or gaining the information that you need, that you want. Now, once again, 5 people have lost their lives overnight in this massive earthquake. Folks, one thing that I could definitely say, it is a good thing that this earthquake did not actually occur on shore. If it would have occurred on shore, there would have been massive destruction. Massive. Now, the tsunami warnings, I've been keeping track of them throughout the night. There wasn't really that much of a threat of a massive tsunami. Some of the reporting agencies were reporting anywhere from 8, 9, 10, possibly 12-foot tsunamis rolling in. But the tsunamis, I mean, that's just not even the biggest threat right here, folks. Because right after this magnitude 8.2 rolled in and struck this region, multiple tremors over a magnitude 5 rang out along the coastline. And you know, folks, people are out there and they say that the sun has absolutely no influence on earthquake activity. And ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that that is 100% disinformation. It is wrong. It is a blatant lie. Blatant lie. There is enough scientific data that has been produced over the years that definitely attributes these large earthquakes to activity on the sun. And folks, for all of you that don't know, they are pushing this grand solar minimum agenda, stating that the sun is going to sleep. But in actuality, we've seen nothing of the kind. You have these quagmire solar scientists who basically work for the government, and they will say whatever they are told to say. But I was listening to a solar plasma physicist on what is happening on the Earth. They actually conversed with the doctor on this subject late yesterday, raising her eyebrows up high into her forehead, because the situations that are occurring on the sun are confusing to some of these scientists that actually don't know what's really going on. And then, whenever they are filled in about what is truly happening, now things start to make sense. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you didn't watch the live stream that I did yesterday evening pertaining to the purple Earth that was captured on the International Space Station cameras, go over there and watch that. Go over there and watch that. We have situations right now brewing around the world, folks. You all know it. You can't get away from the mainstream media information now. You certainly can't get away from the YouTube mainstream media information pertaining to these disasters and these catastrophes. But let's not lose track of what is happening, and that is people are losing their lives. People are being displaced. Everything they own, everything they have acquired throughout their lifetime is being taken away in a matter of minutes, and that can happen to each and every one of us. You can wake up today, put your feet on the floor, and think that you're going to have a normal day, and we all know that can change in the matter of seconds. So let's not lose track with reality, and that is reality. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I woke up to this email from this gentleman at the seismology office in Mexico. And, you know, I really haven't talked much about him because he wants to stay anonymous naturally. But the situation that has been brewing on the west coast of Mexico for some time now, it's not really been covered up, but it's really not seen a lot of attention. It seems that I'm the only one that consistently talks about the activity on the west coast of Mexico and Central America. Every time I do an earthquake report, I refer to it, because it is a lot of consistent earthquakes over a magnitude 3 up into the mid 4s. Eventually, something's going to give, and the X flare that occurred on the sun, well, that was just the catalyst to kick things off. And as I've said, ladies and gentlemen, it is a good thing that the epicenter to this earthquake was not on land, but yet out towards this ridge. And you can see the ridge. We'll get into some of this information right now, but you know, I just wanted to go ahead and make this opening statement because, you know, these so-called truthers that are out there, they're really starting to get under my skin when they're making fun of these situations that are occurring. You know, calling us fear mongers, but yet I open my computer and what is the first thing that I see are all of these idiots reporting on this earthquake and this destruction. So ladies and gentlemen, in my neighborhood where I come from, that is called a damn hypocrite. A damn hypocrite. And it is high time now that we all start standing together and we start going on the attack. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have been attacked on YouTube, on Facebook, and in my personal life for over a year now, trying to bring this information to the world population to let them know what is happening. I don't care about the attacks on me. But for all of these so-called truther community people, you're nothing but a bunch of hypocrites and pure scum. You know, folks, I was listening to a video that was sent to me a few days ago by the dastardly Chris Potter, aka Turncoat, talking about how he has been systematically reporting YouTube channels to the United States federal government, specifically the IRS. I mean, folks, what nobility is there in being a narc? Running and telling on people like a little sissy boy. The fact of the matter is, folks, the disinformation campaigns are going to heat up. They already are. They're heating up. They're going to start coming after me again. They're going to start coming after BP Earthwatch and Pastor Paul and the Higher Truth Channel and Dutch Sense and everybody else, because we're going to report on these things that are occurring around the world. I'm going to continue with my Planet X research. The doctor and I are going to move forward regardless of what truther communities have to say, because we don't pay any attention to what they have to say. But I do have to say this. All of these idiots making fun of the X-flare, and the doctor knew this was going to happen. You know, after we did our live stream yesterday, she said to me, she said, you know, I just have a very, very bad feeling that I'm going to close my eyes and go to sleep tonight, and I'm going to wake up, and there's going to be a massive earthquake. Well, folks, I said to her, you know, I feel the same way. My intuition is on overdrive. I was finally able to close my eyes a little after midnight. And there we go. Bingo. We have a massive earthquake. Now we're still getting reports in on the destruction, and I'm hoping that it's not that devastating for these folks. I think they've gone through enough over time. But let's start taking a look at some of the situations that are arising. Let's see if this earthquake map will update. Give me 1 second. Now, folks, I just did a video real quick yesterday after our live stream showing you the geomagnetic storm that was starting to occur. I know there's probably a possibility that some people just don't care. Well, the fact of the matter is, you better care. You better care. And I know all of you that do follow my channel, you do care. You have a big heart. You're smart people, and that's why you're here. I appreciate that. Let's get down to business here. Now, folks, what you're seeing is a massive earthquake swarm. I had one person leave a comment about Yellowstone and stating that earthquake swarms are a good thing, that there's nothing wrong with earthquake swarms. Ladies and gentlemen, earthquake swarms can lead to a massive earthquake. It is not releasing tons of pressure. These smaller quakes that you see going on up there in Yellowstone and over there in southeastern Idaho, yeah, folks, that's not a good situation and a very dumb statement by one individual. Here's the earthquake listed by the USGS as a magnitude 8.1. Almost 70 kilometers deep, which is still very, very shallow. The Geoscience Seismology Office in Australia listed the depth as 33 kilometers and also a magnitude 8.1. There was another earthquake picked up by the USGS, a magnitude 8, depth 33 kilometers. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you see a situation like this, this is telling you that systematically there were 2 magnitude 8 earthquakes right next to each other, right in front of this ridge along the western coast of Mexico. Let me turn on this camera here. We'll show you. Now, we can't get into the ridge on this, but the ridge is right here. And you can see these earthquakes were right along that ridge. I'll be able to show you the ridge a lot better on the Mexico Seismology Office website. But just in a matter of time, magnitude 4.3, 5.3, 4.2, 4.5, 5.2, 4.6, 4.3, 5.2, 5.7. These are all shallow quakes, folks. 4.4. Well, there you go. You can clearly see what has started to occur off the coast of Mexico. Now, let's move into the Mexico Seismology Office website. We're just going to go ahead and blow this right up. Now, folks, they have it listed as a magnitude 8.2. This is their country, so we're going to go ahead and go with their magnitude listing. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here a little bit so I can show you this ridge. I'm going to take away the magnitude flag, and you can see this long ridge. It passes all the way down the whole entire coast of Mexico. And there are major fault lines around this area, as you can see. It's a very, very shallow area of water. And the earthquake happened right on this ridge. Magnitude 8.2. We're going to go ahead and get into a few reports and see what's happening around the world as far as what is being reported. But before we do that, I wanted to show all of you something very quickly, something that we haven't looked at in quite some time, and that are these are the heliplots from the USGS. As you can see, the majority of them are black. Alaska, Missouri, Oregon, Florida, Texas, Hawaii, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Indiana, Tennessee, Michigan, Minnesota, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them, but watch very carefully as I pan all the way down. Yeah. Do I hear you saying, "Oh, Scott, they're all black"? That is correct. They are all black. And they're going to continue to stay this color. Here you go. Here are the international heliplots or seismograms. We'll just string through these real quick. They're all black. Thailand, Philippines, Australia, Ethiopia, Germany, Solomon Islands, Korea, Norway, Finland, Hawaii, Kenya, Chile, and the rest of them, folks, they're all going to be the same. And the reason why they're all going to be the same is very simple. The X-flare, I have a picture for you right here. This X-flare that came from the sun is going to be the culprit. We're going to continue to have issues with the sun because, ladies and gentlemen, we already know what is happening out there. We already have enough evidence to prove it. I am no longer really interested in proving that these stellar objects are within our solar system. My main goal now is to inform people of what is out there, what can and will happen. And slowly but surely, all of you are seeing it. Your blinders are off. You're thinking outside of the box. And now you are clearly visualizing what is going to occur and what is occurring. The situation with the hurricanes is devastating. The islands in the Caribbean have been ripped apart. Barbuda, 90% of the homes destroyed. Whenever this hurricane makes its way over into the state of Florida, it is going to rip the state of Florida apart. They have absolutely phenomenal hurricane codes. Again, I lived there for 22 years. I'm very, very familiar with the South Florida area. Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Hollandale, North Miami Beach, Miami Beach. I lived in North Miami Beach for 22 years. Right across the street from the ocean. I've been through 13 named hurricanes, including Hurricane Andrew. I rocked out with that hurricane. And I can tell you, folks, Category 5 hurricanes, nothing to mess with. Nothing. Not in the state of Florida. This X-flare that occurred on the sun is definitely the root cause for the massive earthquake that has just occurred in Mexico. There is no doubt about it. There will be more to come as far as these types of catastrophes and tragedies. You know, after I finished the live stream yesterday, once again tried getting a hold of my son and my daughter who live in Miami with their mother. I haven't been able to get a hold of either one of them. I have great concerns on their safety and hoping that their mother does the right thing and tries to get out of there. But ladies and gentlemen, it's just not that easy to escape the state of Florida when you live all the way in the southern tip of the peninsula. It takes a long time to drive from Miami to the border of Georgia. Orlando is 225 miles away from Miami, going right up the Florida Turnpike. Even though they're going to open up all of the lanes, possibly, the inbound and outbound lanes, I remember getting stuck in this type of traffic. I'll never forget it. You know, sitting in the car with my father, not even getting onto Interstate 95. We were actually stuck on the Cloverleaf at the interchange of 826 and 163rd Street, not moving for 2 hours trying to escape Hurricane Andrew. We ended up making a U-turn and heading back. Big mistake. Big mistake. Never forget it. But the X-flare, folks, is definitely going to be the root cause of this earthquake. There's no doubt about it. ABC News was reporting on it. 8.1 earthquake hits Mexico. At least 5 people have perished. Tsunami waves on the way. And I'm sure all of you have probably read up on this a little bit. And this earthquake report here, you know, they're talking about, you know, the some of the residents, you know, have fled buildings, and many were still in their pajamas. If you read right here, many in their pajamas and trying to gather their things and trying to get out into the street. It says some neighborhoods remained in the darkness after the electricity was knocked out. Very sad. Let's move on to the next report. This is coming from the Telegraph. Mexico hit by strong earthquake, the strongest earthquake in a century, as a magnitude 8.2 triggers tsunamis and more tremors. I don't know exactly where this is here, but you can see quite a bit of destruction already occurring. Tsunami waves here stated 3.3 feet were measured. At least 5 people have perished, which included 2 children. Blackouts in the capital city. You know, folks, that just really upsets me even more to know that 2 children lost their lives in this catastrophe, and the so-called Planet X troll community, they basically laugh at the fact that we research this subject. We've made more discoveries on this YouTube channel than anybody in the world. By far proving to everyone that these objects do exist. They are interacting with our sun. And this X-flare has now caused this catastrophe and has taken the lives of 5 people. And 2 of them being children who will never live their lives, who will never grow up to be teenagers, never grow up to be adults. They'll never dream again. That just hits home. Ladies and gentlemen, for each and every one of you that do have children, I want you to take a minute and look at them. And imagine your life without them. Never being able to pick them up and hug them and kiss them and enjoy watching them grow. And these are the things that are being taken away from people around the world. But yet, this so-called truther community wants you to think that there's nothing wrong, nothing happening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to see one of these individuals be faced with this situation, with losing a loved one and possibly even a child. It is truly sickening. You know, there were some children's lives that were lost in the catastrophe in Houston. I believe one woman lost 4 or 5 of her children, all very young, because of rising floodwaters. And I believe a motor vehicle accident, and yeah, devastating. Next article comes from NBC News. Magnitude 8.1 earthquake hits off of Mexico's southern coast. Here's the map that they show. This comes directly from, I believe, the USGS. Showing you the epicenter. You can see the rings that protrude from the epicenter, how far out this earthquake would have been felt. And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people live along these coastlines. And we are probably going to see much more of this type of activity. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame. I don't even know what to say. Very, very saddened at the loss of life. And then, as I look further into what is happening right here, and this concerns me once again, is when I start to see these earthquakes in straight lines across the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm no seismology scientist or expert, but I consider myself to be very knowledgeable when it does come to earthquake activity. I've been studying weather for a long time, over 20 years. I've been studying earthquakes for over 10 years. I've been keeping track of earthquake activity around the globe for a long time before I decided to, quote, start my Planet X YouTube career. But I felt that it was just time for me to start to shed some light on what is exactly happening and what is going to happen. And here we are on this September 8th day, and this is what we're faced with. 7 hours ago, Utah, magnitude 4.8, very shallow. 9.81 kilometers deep. Soon after, magnitude 3.7, depth 5 kilometers. Oklahoma, 10 hours ago, magnitude 3.9, depth 5 kilometers. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be some people that will say that these earthquakes in Oklahoma around this specific region are all due to fracking. I'm going to have to disagree. You may create very, very small earthquakes that barely register on a seismic device. You're not going to cause a magnitude 3.9 earthquake by fracking. I spent 5 years in the fracking industry, working for a multitude of huge companies, including Halliburton and National Oil Well Services out of Texas. I was highly trained and hold 13 certifications in the fracking and drilling industry. You're not going to cause a magnitude 3.9 earthquake by fracking. You're not going to do it. These are legitimate earthquakes that are happening in the Oklahoma region. And I do believe that the energy that is passing from the West Coast trying to make its way to the East Coast is meeting a stalemate right here in Oklahoma. And if it wasn't for this pressure release that is constant in this area of Oklahoma, that we would be seeing more earthquakes along the New Madrid fault line and further east. But then, ladies and gentlemen, that's just my opinion. People have their own. So, you can clearly see straight line of earthquakes. Is that due to fracking? No, it is not. That is a transfer of pressure from the West Coast trying to make itself all the way over to the East Coast. Don't be surprised if you see some rare earthquake activity along this area. We've already seen 2 earthquakes in the state of New York last week, 1 in Maine, several in Canada. You have an earthquake up here 9 hours ago in Alaska, magnitude 4.7. Just what the Dominican Republic needs, 7 hours ago, magnitude 3.73. Depth, 52 kilometers. Right in the midst of looking down the barrel of Hurricane Irma at a Category 5. Soon to be venturing up through the Florida Straits and knocking on the door of South Florida. Magnitude 3.1. Australia, 8 hours ago. There have been a couple of earthquakes over the past week in Australia. Now, some of the earthquakes that are normally on here, they're not reported. We're going to go ahead and check the European model, and let's see what they have to say. We're looking at an earthquake right up here. Oh, that's north of Iceland, magnitude 4.7. Earthquake right over here, 4.4. And it seems that so far this energy, this pressure has not made its way over into Europe. Give it some time, it will be there. Here's your earthquake over here in Mexico and all of your earthquake swarms. Here's a magnitude 6.1 that occurred in the Bonin Islands, Japanese region, 480 kilometers deep. I'll repeat that. 480 kilometers deep. Magnitude 6.1. You can see the region. We'll go ahead and pan out right off the coast of Japan, right along this ridge. Or could it have been this crazy nutcase over in North Korea, dropping more bombs over Japan? Pretty soon, Japan's just going to get tired of this guy, and they're just going to blast him one. If he even exists. Let's take a quick look, ladies and gentlemen, and see if we can get onto the SDO. I know they were having some issues with the satellite over the course of the last couple of days. It just wasn't working. The stereo imaging was down from August 29th for several days. Just wasn't working. All due to what is happening on the sun. Take a quick look at what is happening on the 48-hour loop, and you can see these major sunspots. Wow, did you just see that? Ooh, we're going to have to pay a little bit of attention to that right there. Let's see if we can catch that real quick, folks. Look at that. Wow. That right there was another, what looks to be a solar flare. I'm trying to get back to this point. Let's see if we can catch it again. Very hard to catch this on this this video player from SDO. Well, you can see it's starting right there. And that actually looks like it's coming from the region of this sunspot, but just outside of the sunspot itself. See if we can get to it one more time. And it's going to be very, very hard to get that to, well, let's just download it. And go from there. Let's take another view, see what's happening. We should be able to see that a little more clearly on the 171. Pay very close attention to that region. You'll see it shortly. Okay, it doesn't show up that good on there. We're going to check one more model here. As you can see, folks, these models are being affected by what's happening. Now there you just saw the X flare. Another X flare. Another one. And another one. And another one. Yeah, folks, this is not a good situation that we are currently under. There's just no doubt about it. Let's move up here to the 211 angstrom, and let's see what we can see here. Well, there it was. There was definitely a pretty good ejection right there. No doubt about it. You can see more flaring has continued. We're going to go ahead and check the SOHO data real quick. And we're also going to check the cactus. Let's just plug in these dates. And let's see what we have here. This will take a minute for it to go ahead and cycle through. Now you're seeing one coronal mass ejection there. Pay very close attention to all of the debris that is being scattered. And there you go on the 7th, leading into the 8th. There we have it. Let's go ahead and speed this up a bit. Wow. Well, folks, I'd have to say that that is one hell of a coronal mass ejection. Slow it down a little bit. And that was what occurred on the 6th. And then again yesterday, late yesterday. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick look at the cactus. We're going to see what is occurring there. That will give us a different view on this coronagraph. Let's see what they've detected. Well, look at this, folks. What you're looking at right here, where you see my cursor in this black area, you're basically looking at a timeline of coronal mass ejection events that are recorded based on exact time and date. Each one of these coronal mass ejections is recorded. Okay, and if you go over here into the blue area, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, blah, 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 all the way up. These are all at specific times, and there is also a bunch of data that is right here. When you click on these little blue links, it will take you directly to what has occurred, and they're systematically putting these events together. Now, this is basically just venting, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to go back. And let's see here. This might be the full ejection. Oh boy. We'll go ahead and download that. Let's take a look at it. Wow. That's a pretty big blast, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is the blast that occurred on the 6th. We're going to have to move up the scale and see what has occurred on the 7th. So let's follow the scale. We have number 21. This was probably the beginning of the venting process. And that occurred at 3:12 a.m. Let's see what they have for number 22. Not much. Let's move up to 24. More venting. Okay, it's beginning. Let's take a quick look at this. Now you can see I don't know, folks. That kind of looks like the beginning stages of a coronal mass ejection, or that could have been another X flare. I don't know. This is new to me right now. Let's move to number 26. This should give more information as in a timeline. You can see that the ejection becomes somewhat larger. At the very bottom, down here, I don't want to move my cursor because it covers the time stamp at the bottom. I'll move my cursor for a minute. You can take a look at the timeline here at the bottom. It will reappear. And that was on the 7th. And that was going into the late evening. So let's move up the scale a little bit here. Let's check on number 27. This should give us, well, this is more of the venting process afterwards. And that was occurring on or about between 7, 8, 9 o'clock. That's a pretty good ejection right there. It's not massive, but it's enough to increase problems that we're already having on this planet. Here is more of the after venting process, the back end of this CME. And folks, just take a look at all of these little black dots. Everything's scattering from this ejection. Now, I'm not sure if this was an X-class flare that occurred. We're gonna definitely have to check this out. Now my curiosity is peaking. And we'll let this load and let's see what the solar wind model, this is the prediction model. I'm going to go ahead and just stop it right here. And you can see their prediction for the 7th. You're going to see right here that the Earth is about to go through hell right there. Right here. I'll just have to move this up so I could use the slider a little bit. That peak in the plasma density, that's pretty bad, folks. Now, one thing that you will see is you will see the plasma density flatline from the 8th through the 11th. That's all fine and dandy. But what you have to pay very close attention to is the spike in the solar wind velocity right there. Major peak between the 8th and the 9th, which will be today. So that's a good 36 hours, possibly even 48 hours, and then the solar wind velocity will start to trail off, but then it will be sustained for several days, and that stream will just come directly in, and you can see what's happening right here. So let's move the slider a little bit more, and you'll see the impact begin yesterday, and by halfway through the day, you are in the most extreme part of this solar wind, passing through it. And then what do you see coming behind it, ladies and gentlemen? You see the 1-2 punch, and here it comes. Here's the 8th, halfway through the 8th, going into the 9th, and on the 9th, we're going to get hit again. And then we're going to get hit again. Halfway through the 11th, going into the 12th. So you can see, pay very close attention to this model here, where my cursor is. I'll use the slider, and you can see the event occur. Yes, indeed. We're going to go ahead and check out some other data here real quick, folks. As you can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, they're already looking at severe G4 magnetic storms, G3, and there you go. There is your spike. And that is right at the level baseline of a G5. I'll just bring this up for you so you can clearly see it. And bingo. There we go. Don't mind me. I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this for our new website. Ladies and gentlemen, if any of you have not visited our new website, there is a link in the description box, www.planetxresearcher.com. I started working on that website yesterday. I'm about halfway through finishing it. It's going to be more interactive for you guys, and we're going to be producing a newsletter. And if any of you want to receive the newsletter and also receive alerts for videos that will be up on YouTube, I'm not going to be relying on the YouTube notification system anymore. I'm going to do it myself. So there you go, folks, right there, September 8th, massive, massive spike. Geomagnetic activity. Let's see what else they have to say. Well, the actual report, for some reason, it's not loading all the way. I'm sure we could pan down here and read what they have here. It just won't be that big on the screen. Yeah, we have right here G4, G3, G1 going into September 10th. So this is September 8th, 9th, and 10th. Well, that's not good. Solar radiation storm forecast for September 8th through September 10th. S1 or greater, 99%. 99% on the 9th, 95% on the 10th. Who cares about radio blackouts? I'm worried about the radiation levels. Radio blackout forecast for September 8th through September 10th. R1 and R2, 75%, 75%, 75%. R3 or greater, 50% across the board. Let's move down to some other activity here. Once again, loss of data on the ACE solar wind model. But we already know what the solar wind is. I'm sure it's increasing by now. And if any of you didn't see the aurora forecast, go ahead and set this up and let that load. We'll get this one loading also down here so we can move into that. And this is the aurora forecast. Did a short report on this yesterday whenever we were in the beginning phases of this geomagnetic storm. And just pay very close attention. You should see the intensity as the Earth turns. You can see the intensity on the dark side of the Earth. You can see as it intensifies, and watch this. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is about as intense as you can get. Very intense situation. We're going to go ahead and take a look at this model. Let me blow up the screen so we can see this more clearly. Now, folks, this area up here, that you're looking at, this is not normally supposed to be red. This is supposed to be black. You can see the intensity right now directly over India. I would not be surprised, folks, if we do not see a major earthquake event in India or the surrounding area or over there in the South Pacific. I mean, you can see what is occurring on your screen right now. There's just there's no doubting this situation anymore, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, there you have it, folks. That's about as bad as it gets. Now, as the Earth rotates, if this continues, you're now going to see all of this energy, all of this will be transferred right over here. And that's how it works, folks. Remember, this is a flat model. Nothing against the flat earthers, but this is your flat earth right here. So this is going to transfer from here to here. There's a very, very high possibility. Let's take a look. 1 second. Let's slide this back. UTC time. This was 4 a.m. Okay, so just before this started over here on the daytime side of the Earth, it would have been right here. The model doesn't go back. This is 4:18 a.m. UTC time, which would have been pretty close to the time of this earthquake at approximately 1 a.m. over here in Mexico. So you can see some of it right here on the side. So as the Earth rotates, this area probably would have been the first region to experience that solar energy, therefore causing the magnitude 8.1, 8.2 earthquake off the shores of Mexico. Now the intensification has transferred to the other side of the Earth, and this region right here, folks, this is in the crosshairs. Boom, boom. Look, this is just spiked all the way up. Very, very intense situation. Very, very worried about this area of the world right now for the rest of the day. Going through the rest of the day, September 8th, folks, I'm telling you right now, watch very carefully for a massive earthquake in this region. Where you see the blue, where you see the orange and the greens and the yellows, and then boom, you see the flash of red, anywhere in this region, the ability for one of these massive earthquakes to occur is almost 100%. Very, very serious situation that we have brewing right now on our planet, ladies and gentlemen. Very intense. Let's take a quick look at our magnetopause, magnetosphere, and our solar wind models. Let's see what they have in store for us real quick. See if we have any. Now, we never know whenever they replace this with normal looking models. Now we're going to have to go back in time a little bit. So I'm going to go back 200 frames and we'll see what we have. Well, that's running. I'm going to get these other models set. Oh yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your magnetopause for you. And the Earth is reacting. The magnetopause is reacting to the massive amount of energy coming from the sun. Almost, once again, collapsing the magnetopause. And for all of you that are new, this little arch that you see being bent to hell and back and distorted, that is our magnetopause. This bow shock, this is our defense mechanism. Wow. This is our defense mechanism, our shield against all of the solar radiation coming from the sun. As you can see, what is happening to it right now is definitely not a good situation. We're under very, very intense times right now, folks. These intense times, these are going to last for at least the next 5 to 7 days. Very, very intense situation. Wow. I'm actually going to leave that up on my screen because I want to go ahead and screen capture that just to make sure that this information doesn't just mysteriously disappear and we don't have access to that model anymore. We're going to go ahead and back up this screen 200 frames, and let's see what the magnetosphere is doing here. It's going to take a few seconds for this to load. All right, now, wow. Well, there you go, folks. For all of the people out there in the so-called trolling truth community, this one here is right in your face, and you're not going to tell anybody anymore that the situations on the sun that are occurring are normal. You're a complete retard. Well, there you go, folks. You can clearly see what was leading up to the situation that we're in right now. So on September 6th, 7th, leading into the 8th, today's going to be a crazy, crazy day. I can feel it already. Let's take a look at the solar wind model. I'm sure that probably going to see a lot of increased solar wind. We're going to go ahead and move back 200 frames. Let's see what we find. Wow. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's back the truck up here a little bit. Let's go all the way back to the beginning because I saw some solar wind intensities that are reaching well over 2 million, almost 3 million miles per hour. Pay very close attention to the solar wind number up here. This is kilometers per second, very easily translated into miles per hour. Just slowly go through this. Now, folks, you can see these darker colors, and you can see the wind direction, the solar wind direction in the arrows here is now changing and heading back towards the Earth. That is not good at all. Whenever you see situations like that, that is putting internal pressure on the bow shock, which will then start to collapse it. And that's a very, very bad situation for the Earth. Let's continue moving through here. You can see right here, right off the bat, a flat out 1,000 kilometers per second solar wind. And this is occurring 23:43 UTC time on the 7th, just before midnight. And then what occurred at 1 a.m. in Mexico? Boom! A magnitude 8.2 earthquake. Let's just move the slider a little bit because I saw even more intensity. Here we go, 1,465 kilometers per second. Now I'm very, very curious. (1,400 kilometers per second is equivalent to 3.27 million miles per hour. Read it right there. 1,465 kilometers per second is equivalent to 3.27 million miles per hour. There you have it. Let's see if these readings go up even higher because we're only in the very beginning. Let me just expand this screen. (1,529 kilometers per second. And here, ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly see the bow shock is just about gone. A ton of intensity. Yeah, this is a scary situation that we're undergoing. And once again, wow, look at this. 1,516 kilometers per second, 1,525. Oh my God, 1,850 kilometers per second. Look at the array of the solar wind arrows. Look at the way they are outstretched in this pattern. My God. 1,850 kilometers per second. Let's get that right into 1,850. That is over 4.1 million miles per hour. Ladies and gentlemen, these extremely charged particles traveling towards the Earth at 2, 3, and 4 million miles per hour will penetrate and make their way all the way to the core of the Earth. As the days go by, the intensity will pick up and we will have more and more earthquakes. We've already seen an 8.2. Let's get back to the integrated space weather model for the solar wind. Wow. 1,693. Wow, these numbers are really, really outrageous. 2,265. Wow. I got to take a screenshot of that. 2,265. Okay, let's put that in. You're looking at 5 million miles, 5 million miles per hour. 5 million. And we're not even halfway through, folks. You see the slider right down here. We're only about a third of the way through. 2841. My God. That is equivalent to 6.3 million miles per hour. Let me repeat that, folks. 2,841 kilometers per second is equivalent to 6.35 million miles per hour. Right there on your screen. Not making any of this up. You can see it live right here. 2803. Oh, Lord have mercy. Another screenshot. Sorry, folks. Got to document everything. 3,034. 6.78. Oh, hey, you know what? We might as well just call it 7 million miles per hour impacting Earth. What's the date on this? Well, right now, on the 8th, 2:53 a.m., My time right now on the East Coast is 6:31. UTC time is 4 hours ahead of me. So, folks, this is what was happening overnight while you were resting your head on your pillow somewhere on this planet. Let's continue. See what we come up with here. Well, there you go, folks. The bow shock that is supposed to be right here is completely gone. I just have a feeling that this is going to be a day from hell. The next 3 days, guaranteed. Let's continue. Well, folks, you could see the intensity right here in the red. I mean, it's off the chart. 2,972. Bow shock, gone. Wave of intensity, off the chart, on its way. And then we get close to normal as far as solar wind. Wow. Oh, well, right there, folks, there was some pretty intense times. You definitely saw what occurred, and probably the root cause of that magnitude 8.2 earthquake. Hey, listen, folks, I'm just going to say this. If any of you live anywhere near earthquake activity zones, I would definitely be on guard. Let's just put it this way, ladies and gentlemen. Regardless if you live next to a volcano or if you are in a tropical zone, which you have the chance of hurricanes, earthquakes, whatever it is. Maybe you live out in the country where nothing happens. But you mark my words, you're not even safe out there. Ladies and gentlemen, take the time over the next couple of days, sit down and think to yourself about what is happening. It is time to prepare. If you have a chance and you have the money, maybe you might want to stock up on some canned foods, some large bottles of distilled water. Make sure you have a medical kit of some kind, flashlights. And listen, folks, as far as these flashlights go, don't buy the old-fashioned flashlights, okay? Go out, go to Walmart, whatever store you go to, look for these small LED flashlights. Listen, they even make them inexpensively in a lantern form. And they are bright, they use way less battery power, and they last for a long period of time, and they're lightweight because they don't have to hold these big, heavy batteries. I have 4 of them. Okay, I invested $80. I bought 4 of the lanterns with the little LED lights in them. And listen, folks, I can light up my whole house. My whole house. I take these outside on my deck. I put one of them on each corner of the deck, and I light up half the neighborhood. Okay, so having some form of light is something that you're definitely going to need. Food, water, medical, and I'm only going to say this one time, folks. Have a form of protection. I'm not going to go any further than that. You know exactly what I mean. Don't look for your local law enforcement and your local authorities to come save you. They'll come knocking on your door and they'll take you to a place where you don't want to go. You can guarantee that. Very, very intense situation. Wow. I cannot believe the speed of this solar wind. But, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this was expected to occur with, with this X-class flare. Let's take another quick look at it. I mean, this is what was captured. I captured this, pretty much just minutes after it occurred. It was right there in my face. And now more of these X flares are probably occurring, and you can clearly see that we are in a very, very intense geomagnetic storm. It is inducing earthquakes around the world. It is going to continue. And we have Hurricane Irma. The state of Florida sitting in the crosshairs of a massive Category 5 hurricane. They said that it is the size of the state of Michigan. It is 4 times the size of the state of Florida. It's going to be a very devastating situation. And ladies and gentlemen, have you already noticed the price of gasoline has gone up 35 cents? I went to fill my tank up yesterday. Just to be on the cautious side, I pulled into a Sunoco gas station. The price of gas was $2.49 a gallon. I went in there yesterday, and the gas was all the way up. It had jumped up to $2.89 per gallon. 40 cents in 24 hours. Now, they're already having gasoline shortages in the state of Florida. The food is gone from the shelves in the grocery stores. The water is going very, very quickly. There are already violent fights breaking out over plywood. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw the same situation firsthand. I experienced it during Hurricane Andrew. People lost their lives over a jug of water and a piece of plywood because they were fighting. The same thing is going to occur, mark my words. You will hear the reports about it, maybe. I don't know. But I've already heard about it. It's already starting. Sad situation that we're in. We're going to take a quick look at what is actually happening with this this hurricane. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up some of this information real quick. We'll pull up the Hurricane Center. Well, as you can see, the hurricane is definitely bearing down on the Bahamian Islands. You know, folks, I used to go over to the Bahamas all the time while I was living in South Florida for all those years. I did a lot of business with a lot of the hotels over there in Nassau and Freeport, Grand Bahama. I think I've probably been to the Bahamas over 60 times. Great people, very loving and caring. They depend on tourism. One thing I could tell you, folks, I've seen a lot of hurricanes hit these islands. One thing I'm going to tell you right now, as bad as this storm is right now, it's listed as a Category 4, wind speed at approximately 155 miles per hour. 925 millibars, pressure, it's low. It's going to be bearing down on the main island of Nassau. There are massive hotels right on the shore. Going to be pretty devastating. These areas of the Bahamas, they are not very far above sea level. So within a matter of hours, they are going to be under the gun. And then, soon after that, the state of Florida. Take a quick look at here. Here is a rainfall prediction. You can see right here in the purple area, 15 to 20 inches of rain. Thank God we are not in the deep purple color. But you're looking at floodwaters that will come directly up into this area. And folks, you know, these hurricanes, they rotate counterclockwise. So the positioning of the storm is going to be a major, major factor. As the winds rotate this way, it's going to pull all of this energy and water directly into the eastern shore of the coast of Florida. And folks, these areas, I mean, like I said, I lived here. I lived in North Miami Beach for 22 years. I lived on the Intercoastal, right across the street from the ocean. It's not very far above ground. Some points almost at sea level. Going up A1A, Ocean Drive, right along the ocean, right along the beach, separated by the Intercoastal Waterway. This all floods very, very, very rapidly, moving down into the city of Miami Beach, which is a barrier island. Forget about it. It's going to be flooded. There is absolutely no doubt. Power loss, get ready for it. Hurricane Andrew, I didn't have electricity for 3 months. Now we're talking about the entire state of Florida that is under the gun. Let's see what else they have here. Wind speed. Wind speed probabilities. Oops. There you go. You have Hurricane Jose bringing up the rear. Hurricane Irma. Wind speeds reaching all the way out through North Carolina into Tennessee. Only minor, possibly 5 to 20 miles per hour. But that's only as this hurricane sits right where the white dot is. So you can see the magnitude and the energy and how powerful this storm is. You also have another hurricane, Katia, right here. Moving on shore, right here in the Gulf of Mexico. Punishing the people in Mexico once again. So the magnitude 8.2 earthquake, no, that's just not enough for the people in Mexico. They have to be hit with this hurricane. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the brink of a world disaster. And I beg you, and I'm only going to beg you one time, do not let anybody filter into your mind and sit there and tell you that everything's okay and that this is all natural. Because it's not. There are things that are affecting our sun, in our inner solar system, our jet stream. our planet, our Earth. Things are becoming so extreme, ladies and gentlemen. It is just amazing that there are still people out there in complete denial. Either they're just plain retarded or they're being paid. You heard me. Being paid to spread disinformation. And like I've said before, folks, what a better way to displace millions of people. Create a natural disaster. Move everybody out of an entire state. In your lifetime, ladies and gentlemen, when have you ever heard of an evacuation of an entire state? An entire state being displaced. Very critical times already in the Houston, Texas area and Louisiana. Now, several huge ports of call are going to be affected. One being the port of Miami, and right up here in the northern section of Florida, Jacksonville. There's a major port of call right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see spikes in your gasoline prices. You are going to see spikes in the grocery store. Give it a few days. It is going to affect everyone worldwide, what is happening right now. My children, my son and my daughter, are right here. And I can't find them. I can't find them. Am I worried? I'm actually shaking. It's hitting home. It's digging at the pit of my heart. I don't want to hear any of these idiots in the Planet X troll community talking their smack about what is happening. You know, you got one idiot over here in Texas that doesn't live too far from Dallas that was on YouTube yesterday or the day before making fun of people reporting on the X-class flare, telling everybody that it was completely normal, that there is nothing that people should be worried about. The YouTube channels are just fear-mongering. But this scumbag goes by the name of Logan Runnin. Visit his YouTube channel, ladies and gentlemen. Logan Runnin. R-U-N-N-I-N. This guy is absolutely a notorious idiot. And then as he's telling people yesterday in his stupid live stream that there's nothing to worry about an X-class flare categorized as a 9.3. And what does he do? He's the first person on YouTube reporting on the earthquake disaster in Mexico. And little does this punk know that 2 children lost their lives. This man is a scum. And I think everybody should go to his YouTube channel and leave some comments. I did. And I will continue. And I will continue to call him out as being a hypocrite. This man living right here in this area of Texas decided not to go out and help his fellow man. He hid in a garage on YouTube making ridiculous videos, when he is fully capable of going out there and helping his fellow man. But what did he do? He cowered. He cowered in a garage with a laptop. Instead of getting out there and helping people, he decided to troll YouTube like the scumbag that he is. And ladies and gentlemen, these disinformation agents are all over YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. They are paid disinformationalists. They are paid money, dollars. It is time for each and every one of us to stand up. Put your big boy panties on. Put your big girl britches on. Pull them up real tight. Put those nut huggers on. Put your hand down between your legs. What do you feel? You better feel a set of balls, people, because that's what you're going to need in the days and the weeks and the months to come. Mark my words. I've been telling you this for over a year. I'm done preaching. It's time that we take back what is ours. And what I'm referring to is the freedom of your speech. The freedom to move about without being inhibited. The freedom to help others. You know, one of the most disgusting things that I saw over the course of the last several days were the boys in blue with badges. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, police officers. Stopping people from helping one another in Texas and Louisiana. Stopping everyday people from saving others that were trapped. What in the hell happened to society? Whatever happened to serve and protect? I'm fed up. I'm sick of it, and I'm tired of it, and it's time to take a stand. If you don't have the guts to do it, look in the mirror. Just stand there. Look in the mirror. Think about what it would be like to lose a loved one, to lose a child. And right before that catastrophe, somebody told you, hey Bob, hey Mary, everything's okay. Don't worry about a damn thing. I believe your whole attitude will change very, very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to get out there, take the stand, and back each other up and protect each other. We understand that there is scum on this globe. But it is time to make our presence known. It is time for them to hear our voice loud and clear. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. Support the YouTube channels that you watch and you follow. There are some great people out there on YouTube that are doing some fantastic jobs reporting on everything that is occurring. Things that you're not going to see on mainstream media. Support them. I appreciate each and every one of you supporting me and Dr. Albers. We love you guys to death. I really do appreciate it. Whenever you folks get a chance and you get some time, Check out our new website, www.planetxresearcher.com. There's a link in the description box. I'm going to be working on the website for a little while today, but I can clearly see that there is going to be a lot to report on and a lot to watch and dig into. And you know damn well that's exactly what I'll be doing. This is Scott from Planet X News and the Nibiru channel. I want to thank each and every one of you for being with me this very, very early morning. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, everybody in the Caribbean, everybody affected by Hurricane Irma, and all of the people that will soon be affected by this cataclysmic storm. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.